Hello, and welcome to the A's and B's of Horror. I am your host, Jim, and with me as always is...
Mark.
That's better. That sounds more like Mark. That's the Mark we all know and love. We're going to apologize for having taken some extended time off. We had some life things happen. Right. We are going to try to get back on track.
We have not pod faded yet.
No, we have not.
After our 6 episodes or whatever.
Five episodes. One is Spotify only because I didn't know how to do this thing yet, so we count 5. However, we're going to do things a little differently today, aren't we?
We are because we've had some live issues outside of the podcast. We have not had time to prepare our notes and movies that we talked about at the end of the last episode. So we're going to do an off-the-cuff episode just to give our millions and millions and millions of fans some lovely content.
I'm sorry, I was not told we needed to wear cuffs. Do I need to go change?
No, not those sort of cuffs.
Oh, okay, my mistake.
Okay, so what are we doing today?
You tell me, Mark. I'm in the dark about this. Right. This was all your idea.
So I figured we would just come up with a general topic, and I know we've kind of like touched on this before, but I thought it would be fun to go through some lists of best horror remakes.
So best according to who?
So I will go through a couple. I'll probably go through, well, depending on how long we take to talk about these things. I might go through a couple of different lists. The first one is
so let's
clickbait.com.
So these are those clickbait things that you see on Facebook where, 10 of the scariest movies ever made.
It's very much like the Watch Mojo sort of top 10.
Okay, gotcha.
But
okay,
we might zoom around a little bit. There might be some that we haven't seen or some that we don't really care about. But Jim, what do you think? What are the ingredients to make a good horror remake?
So the first thing is reverence for the original. You have to care about the source material to be able to do it justice properly.
Right.
Going in trying to just reinvent the entire canon doesn't work. You have to pay. Okay, so I'm going to say this, and you're gonna hate me for it, but the way that they did Halloween 2018, where they paid homage to a lot of the original canon, and they poked fun at some of the more ridiculous parts of the 97 sequels, I thought is the way you should treat a reboot / remake.
But that is a sequel.
Right, but it is a reboot of the entire series because they're ignoring everything after the first movie.
And we can go down the rabbit hole of reboots and, what constitutes a remake, a reboot, and a reimagining, taking a different source material, et cetera, et cetera.
I'll give you one that I hated, if that helps. One of the remakes.
No. Well, let's go down a couple of lists before we jump in case we spoil something, on the list. Unless you think it's not going to make the list.
I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to wind up on these clickbait lists.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So let's just put it to one side. So again, this first list is from collider.com, and
And I would just like to clarify, I have no previous knowledge of any of this stuff, so my reactions will be genuine. Yeah, Mark is the only one that has seen this stuff.
And the title for this clickbaity list is 13 great horror movie remakes that prove they don't all suck. Dun, dun, dun.
So in other words, they're all going to suck. Let's go, shall we?
All right.
Let's endeavor to explore this list.
So the first one, and I don't know if you've seen it or not, is The Crazies.
I have not seen either the original or the remake.
So I will say this is very much one of my favorite remakes.
Okay.
I thought the original was good enough for the time. It's a George A. Romero movie. And it's got some great elements in it. But they really, really blew it out of the water with the remake with Timothy Olyphant in it.
Okay. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. I legitimately saw the trailer for it and was interested in it, but just never got around to seeing it. So
it is definitely worth your time. So for some of these, if you know, I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't seen it, so I'm not going to delve really too much into it.
It doesn't bother me if you do. It's not going to stop me from watching it when I'm ready.
But it really is a great movie. I don't know why it doesn't get talked about more.
Didn't it come out the same time as The Strangers, and that got a lot more hype at the time?
Right.
Like it was close to that same time frame, and I hated The Strangers.
I've only seen The Strangers 2, which I hated. I've never seen the original or the first.
I loved the movie up until the end. It was the final jump scare that really sank the entire production for me. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Anyway, okay, so next on our list, the first line in their description is, "This one's sure to be one of the more controversial picks on the list." So for the second pick, it is Marcus Nispel's 2009 remake of Friday the 13th.
Yeah, there it is. I hated it. Hated every minute of it. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. Mm-hmm. I hated it because he took a captive. Mm-hmm. That's bullshit. And it's garbage. It doesn't pay homage to the original. It's essentially a guy looking for his sister, and then a bunch of other people just happen to show up just to get killed. There's no, not that there was many cohesive storylines in the original Friday the 13th franchise, but at least they had a reason for being there.
Right. So this isn't even a remake of Friday the 13th. This is a remake, a partial remake of Friday the 13th 1, 2, 3. Right. Because they all take elements of it.
Right.
I'm not a huge slasher fan, as you know. So like the original Friday the 13th doesn't mean like it's not a classic to me or anything. Now this one from memory, I just remember liking. Okay. I just find it's a Platinum Dunes. A lot of those remakes, they're just very bland to look at, and the actors are very like WB kind of.
And it's funny that you say that. Guess who starred in this movie?
Somebody from the WB?
Jared Padalecki, who was
I don't know.
Sam from Supernatural, which started on the WB.
There you go. Yep. So Derek Mears plays Jason this one.
I thought he did an admirable job. I don't fault any of the actors for my disdain for this movie. It's all based on writing.
Yeah. So if Jason didn't take a hostage, like take that element out of it, would that change your opinion?
No. There were several other elements like the crazy families, and it seemed everything seemed so forced. Like none of it seemed natural. It all seemed like very contrived and very very forced. Like there was no natural progression, and none of it made any sense to me.
Yeah, I'd need to watch it again. It's been such a long time since I've seen it, and I don't really have an awful lot of impulse to go and rewatch it again.
Agreed. I don't either.
In my head, it was just okay. So
yeah,
you've obviously got a much different opinion. It was just, but you might have more reverence for the Friday the 13th series.
And I do, because I loved actually all of the Friday the 13th, especially when they delved into the ridiculous, like with 7 through 10, because they just embraced it and went whole hog, and I thought it was great.
Yeah, I like the ones that are different. I like Jason in Space.
That was such a fun addition to the series. I wish it would have ended there.
Do you know what my favorite Friday the 13th movie is?
I'm assuming you're gonna tell me Jason Goes to Hell.
No.
Which one?
It's Friday the 13th Part 7.
Oh, the New Blood. That is great.
That is the one the Carrie like.
Yep.
Yeah. To me, that was the most fun.
Yep.
It wasn't too over the top. It was just fun.
I agree.
But I really, although I also really love Freddy versus Jason.
See, and I hate that one.
I think it's better than most sequels in both franchises.
I think it's straight up garbage.
Well, it's okay to be wrong.
Well, yes, you're allowed to be wrong once in a while.
All right, moving on. So this one maybe. I'm interested if you've seen this one. What your thoughts are on that original Evil Dead?
I'm torn. I love the original trilogy. Right, I absolutely adore them. I really have a soft spot in my heart for Sam Raimi films.
Right.
As far as the remake, it wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't the same. It didn't have the same feel or ambiance of the original movie, but I mean, it tonally it just didn't do it for me. But it wasn't a bad movie. I didn't think.
So to me, there's like a huge negative and a huge positive for
Okay.
the remake. So well, let's start out with the positive.
Sure.
I thought the violence and gore were outstanding in it.
Oh, I don't disagree.
Absolutely.
I did enjoy it.
I thought for the big negative, like I did not like any character in that movie. Like
Agreed.
they were all annoying, fucking millennial, just fucking annoying. So in a way, that kind of made the violence even better because I hated every one of them.
Right.
But
Because you hate them, you love it when they get theirs. Yep,
yeah.
I get that.
But I think they should have weaved in a little bit more of kind of the black humor. I mean, not copy the original.
Right.
And the first Evil Dead is not overly funny.
No.
There are definitely, Sam Raimi funny parts to it.
Yes.
Obviously in part 2 and 3 they go way more
Right.
comedy.
The second one goes almost slapstick comedy with a little bit of horror thrown in.
I mean, the third one is barely, to me,
It's
like
not horror. It's like it's a cartoon or a comic book essentially.
Right.
But I still adore it.
I like it. I really like it, but
Yeah.
I don't tend to rewatch it. Like Evil Dead 2, to me,
Agreed.
is the quintessential 80s horror comedy.
I could see that point, but I would have to disagree because I have a different one that I love more.
So I love a lot of 80s horror comedies, but
So do I.
It just occurred to me as I was watching it that there is like virtually no downtime in the movie. I mean, it starts and it goes.
Yep.
And I think the jokes all land. I think the tone is great. So it doesn't mean that there's others in my head.
Right.
Like a movie you have seen, Return of the Living Dead, that are definitely close running to it. But I think, like, if somebody put a gun to my head and said, well, you need to pick one, it would probably be Evil Dead 2. So what is yours?
Ghoulies.
Ghoulies is all right. I mean, there's nothing great about it to me.
It's not great. It is not. There is nothing great about that movie. I just always, for whatever reason, connected and thought it was a fun movie to watch. I always loved watching it and all of its sequels.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's fun. It's fun, but it's just like, obviously they were doing like the Gremlins type.
And I think that's why I liked it so much, because for some reason puppets just did it for me. I loved the movies. There was that and Munchies, which I liked, which used the same kind of stuff. Troll, again, the little hand puppets. I absolutely loved them. Loved the first movie. Loved it. Two and three are okay, but I loved the first movie. Series sucked. Anyway.
Okay, next on the list from our friends at Collider.
Yes.
Dawn of the Dead. Another Romero.
Okay, I'm gonna bow out.
So this is Zack Snyder, and this is when Zack Snyder was actually making some good movies. I think he's fallen way off.
Okay.
I think for me, and I know Dawn of the Dead, the original Romero movie, is a lot of people's favorite zombie movie, and certainly a lot of people's favorite Romero movie.
Okay.
I found it a bit slow.
Okay.
Some of the goofy parts a bit too goofy. To me, it's always a toss-up between night and day for my favorite Romero movie. But I thought this remake, for most of it, is way better.
Okay.
It's got the fast zombies, right? So this was like sort of the 28 Days Later, even though those aren't zombies. But this has got kind of like the fast zombies. And it's got a great opening, like amazing.
Okay. I'll give you that. I haven't seen it, so I don't have an opinion one way or the other.
Have you seen the original?
No.
Oh, okay. So I think we'll talk about the next one. And you have not seen either the original or the remake. So the next one they have is Maniac.
Right. Again, have not seen either one.
So I think the remake, I probably touched on this before, does what a good remake should do. It takes the original material and it adds some elements to make it original.
Okay.
So it's in the original Maniac, the main guy, the killer, Joe Spinell, the actor, is not what you would say Hollywood good looking. He was kind of a bigger, heavier set guy, and he's a great actor, or he was a great actor. But he kind of embraced that grungy. Think about like Taxi Driver 70s vibe. But in the remake, it's Elijah Wood playing the same role.
I do appreciate Elijah Wood. I generally like him in the stuff I see him in.
And he's a huge horror nerd too.
Did not know that.
Yep, huge horror nerd. So you go from this like kind of not that attractive, big, large kind of guy to Elijah Wood. And whenever I heard about them, doing the remake, it was going to be Wood in that role, I'm like, how is this going to work? Because he's like 5'5" or whatever. He's a small guy. But what they did with this was they really made it like a first person movie, right? So they shot it first person. So you're kind of like you only see Elijah Wood in certain scenes when he's like walking past a mirror or something like that. But it's really all the camera is just kind of you are him, which I thought they did very well.
Okay, I can appreciate that, but again, I don't have an opinion.
Okay, so the next one I have not seen. Nosferatu the Vampire. So they're talking about Werner Herzog's remake.
Right. I've seen the original. I have not seen the remake.
Okay, so we're going to have to skip on. All right.
I actually have the original on DVD around here somewhere.
Yeah, I mean to get around to it because it's got, God, what do you call
Willem Dafoe.
No.
Right? Or John Malkovich.
No. That's Shadow of the Vampire.
No. Hold on.
So Nosferatu the Vampire is,
I
think 1970 something, and it's Werner Herzog.
Oh, they're doing another remake.
I think with
Klaus
Kinski. Eggers or somebody.
Klaus Kinski is Count Dracula.
Klaus Kinski. There you go. That maniac.
Yep. And he's a great actor. I love most of what I've seen him in, but I, again, have not seen that one.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Another one. You may have seen it. I have not. Fright Night.
Oh, yeah. Seen them both. I love the original.
Right.
Lukewarm on the remake. I mean, it was... Colin Farrell was excellent. Anton, and I believe, wasn't it Anton Yelchin?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's always fantastic. The tone of the movie was really well done. My favorite part of the remake, though, was the soundtrack.
That's not a good sign.
That's where I was exposed to the classic song, I Got 99 Problems and a Bitch Ain't One.
Oh, you never heard that before?
I had never heard it before.
Anything else you want to say about Fright Night?
No, not really.
I really like the original.
The remake is not terrible. I just have lukewarm feelings towards it. I really like the actors, and I think that's why I don't outright hate it.
Right.
If I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean the original to me, along with slashers, I'm not a big vampire.
Yeah, but you have to admit, Chris Sarandon and Roddy McDowall did a bang-up job.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, they were fantastic in it.
And isn't that where we were introduced to Amanda Bierce for the first time too?
I believe so.
Who would go on to become
Marcy Darcy?
That's right, from Married with Children.
Marcy Darcy. Okay, what's next? Oh, The Hills of Eyes.
Okay, so the original I never really connected with. It was never really a great movie for me. I loved the remake. Absolutely thought it was really well done. It was gritty, it was brutal, and I thought it was done really, really well.
Jim, are you sitting down right now?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I 100% agree. I think
really
was fantastic. I thought the original was, there's ideas there. It's early Craven, but there's a lot of issues. I was watching a YouTube thing about The Hills of Eyes 2. Have you ever seen
I did not watch it.
It's funny because I'm trying to. I might have watched it in the '80s, but it's. They're saying, oh, there's a bunch of like flashbacks, and like the dog has a flashback. Like I have to find this now. I have to find this. Like, yeah. So yeah, I think what Alexander Aja did with the remake was really expand on the premise.
Wait, who was that? Who did the remake?
It's Alexander Aja.
That's the same person that did the alligator movie. What was the alligator movie called? He did what?
He did Piranha 3D.
I did not see Piranha 3D. But what is the name of the alligator movie he did with the blonde actress?
Oh, I know. It is because I quite liked it.
I did too. That's what I was just thinking about.
It was super silly but fun. It's like
it was a fun Crawl. That's it. Crawl. It was a novel idea, number one, right? And I mean, I thought it was really interesting. I mean, obviously, we know that it probably will not happen, but I thought it was a fun movie that hadn't been done before.
Well, I would say if you have you seen Bait, the movie
Bait? I did.
I mean,
yes, that's the one where they're in the mall or a warehouse or something, and the sharks are in there.
Yeah, it's kind of similar premise to me. I mean,
but it's much. I thought it's honestly much more well done. I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's fine. It does go way over top towards.
Of course it does. Yeah, it does.
That's fine.
Like when she traps that shark, the alligator in the shower, it's hysterical.
Right. Have you seen his breakout movie?
I don't know. What is it?
High Tension, also known as Hot Tension.
I have seen that one. Yes. I saw the dubbed version. I'm not going to lie. I did not watch it with subtitles.
And what did you think of that movie?
I loved it. I thought it was intense. Mm-hmm. And I honestly did not see the twist coming.
Yeah, that twist was the dumbest shit I've ever seen. And I swear that they must have put it in because they basically copied Dean Koontz's Intensity, and I think it was on purpose because they named it, Don't
get me started on that.
What? Intensity?
Yes. The book was absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It was phenomenal. I loved every minute of reading it.
Mm-hmm.
Then came the movie.
I thought
it was awful. It was it was terrible, Mark. It was absolute dog shit.
Made for TV movie.
Yeah. And just like every other movie that he is involved in that have to do with his books, it's garbage. Servants of Twilight was garbage, the movie. Intensity was garbage. And Phantoms, he butchered it when he wrote the screenplay.
Phantoms.
You've got to be fucking kidding me.
I love Phantoms.
That movie, hot garbage.
Loved it.
Did you read the book?
It's not perfect, but I really love it.
Did you read the book?
I did.
And you still love it?
Yep.
They changed one of the main characters.
That's okay. I still love it.
And don't even get me started on. Oh no, never mind. Go ahead. I hated it. You're wrong, and we'll just move on.
So going back to it, do you see how High Tension was basically a copy of Intensity?
Yeah, I do. Had I seen them at the same time, I would have caught it, but it never crossed my mind because, to be honest, I don't rewatch either one of them.
Right. I mean, there's an almost identical scene in the gas station. Both. Anyway, okay. So for Hills Eyes, we both agree. Next one. So this is an interesting because there's been a ton of remakes of this, but they're talking about the 1978 version. And you could question whether it's horror or not. I guess it's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Okay,
so I cannot say I've ever seen the original. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming they're talking about the one with Donald Sutherland, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I absolutely adore that movie. I think it was well done. It was gritty. It was intense. And that scene where he finally gets taken over and he's pointing is iconic. everybody can identify what movie that comes from.
And the original is very, very good.
Okay.
You know, and it's funny because they say, well, it's all about, communism, and that's taking away the individuality of the person, and everybody has to be part of the collective group. Although I believe the writer was like, no, I didn't mean any of that. But I think the remake with the young Jeff Goldblum too, and Spock in there, and what's her name from Alien?
Veronica Cartwright.
Right. I think it's very good. I mean, this has been remade a number of times. There was a Abel Ferrara remake. There was a which was just called Body Snatchers. There was The Invasion with what's his name? James Bond.
Daniel Craig.
And blonde Australian woman. Famous.
Are we talking Naomi Watts?
No, married to Tom Cruise. I think that was the one.
Married to Tom Cruise?
Yeah. Well, okay, let me look it up.
Oh, you mean Nicole Kidman?
Nicole Kidman. I think she was in it too.
Right. She used to be a redhead. I always think of her as a redhead. I hate her as a blonde. Anyway.
I have not seen that one, but yeah.
I haven't either.
There's a reason why they make they've remade it a number of times, because it's a really good concept.
It is.
I agree. The 78 version is we maybe should have started. Oh dear. We have to start again.
Oh, Jesus. Why?
Whether we think the remake is better, maybe we can do it going forward. Whether we think the remake is much better or a little bit better, or about the same as the original.
Oh, I think we've been covering that pretty well.
Yeah. Next one is, you probably know my feelings about this. The Ring.
Okay. So I really enjoyed the Ring in the English version, because I had not seen Ringu before I saw that. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was a novel idea. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've only seen Ringu once. And while I enjoyed it, I don't remember a whole lot about it. So I can't really compare the two.
This was one where I thought the remake ruined what made the original great.
And that happens more often than not.
So what made the original great was, and specifically kind of Japanese mythology, the mystery aspect of how she came to be, what happened. It's hinted at that her father is a demon from the sea.
Right.
In the remake, you don't get any of that.
No, you don't.
It's just like, oh, here's this weird kid, and she's mad. Okay.
Right.
Doesn't explain anything.
I do agree. I can see that point.
So I think it sucked. And it may be different again, like you were saying. If you see one of the, if you see the remake first, and then you see the original, vice versa. If you see the original and then see the remake, sometimes you can just, look at it a little bit differently. But yeah, I did not like the Ring remake.
Well, and I think your points are valid too. So I mean, there is that. So
and it had that very like MTV sort of vibe to it.
It did. But that was popular at the time too. I mean, a lot of movies had that same feel to them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Up next, we've spoken about this a little bit before. Well, I have. So we're not going to dwell on it because I know you haven't seen either. Is Suspiria.
Okay, so you're wrong. I have seen the remake.
Oh, you have?
I have. We saw that in theaters because Ray was excited. It was a horror ballet movie.
You just haven't seen the original.
Right. I just haven't seen the original.
Okay. I think that this is another case of a very good remake where they add additional mythology that doesn't supersede the original. as far as, you know, taking it too far out of, oh, this, you know, bringing too many elements into it. I thought it was well shot. I thought it was very well acted. It's not the same as the original. It's very, the color palette, I'm sure they did this on purpose, is very dull, which is the opposite of what, you know, a lot of people think about Argento's original, right? So it's the flashy colors. It's like the reds and the yellows and the blues. But I thought that it's not as good as the original, but I thought it's a worthy remake.
I found it incredibly boring.
I can see that too.
Yep. It was too art house for me.
Yeah, I can see that. My main criticism of it is that there's not enough killing going on throughout it.
Agreed.
Which is what happens in the original. I mean, there's a set piece death, you know, at certain intervals. Whereas this one, you got a really cool one near the start with the dancer who's getting broken. And then there's really, it's just a lot of talking and whatever.
Yeah, I agree. That death with the dancer in that room was done really, really well. That scene was amazing.
Yep. But then you get just like, but I still found myself engaged in the movie all the way through. But I can see why a lot of people might kind of be like looking at their watch.
Well, and I did appreciate the fact that 90% of the cast was female, and one female is a chameleon. She played 5 or 6 different parts. I did appreciate that part of it.
Tilda Swinton. Right?
She's amazing.
And she played the old guy, right?
Yep.
Okay, so next up, I would think that you've seen this, is David Cronenberg's The Fly.
I have seen both, actually.
Oh. Help me.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you, honestly, I love the original because Vincent Price. The remake, I thought, was amazing. They added a lot more to it and made it visually a stunning body horror movie. And I thought it was just really, really well done.
Yeah, and this is where, you know, you question if it's a remake. And I think the next one will be the same type of thing. This is more a reimagining to me.
Right. I can see that.
I mean, you don't have Jeff Goldblum with a towel on his head, you know, just talking to people. I mean, this is very much Cronenberg in his element, the body horror stuff.
Yeah.
The degradation of, you know,
the Brundle fly.
So to me, they both have the same basic concepts, but you know, as soon as he goes into the teleportation device, and you know, the two movies diverge at that point.
Agreed.
But I will say, I think the ending of the first one is more terrifying than the remake. The idea of your human head on a fly stuck in a spider web with a spider coming to eat you is more terrifying.
I mean, if you're 70 years old, sure.
What do you mean if you're 70? Would you like to be eaten by a massive spider?
I mean, honestly, it's nonsensical, so it wouldn't really bother me much. But
but if that would happen,
if it were to happen, no, I don't imagine that. Well, yeah, I mean, because they paralyze you, so you aren't going to feel anything anyway. Spiders paralyze their food.
Right, so you're going to be sitting there in a coma, but still aware.
How do you know you're aware?
Because I'm an expert in flies. But I think it's just a great ending for the original.
I do agree. That that was an amazing ending for its time. I thought
And
they did a
obviously,
fantastic job.
Vincent Price is great in anything that he's in, even the cheesiest of.
Agreed.
So when we talk about The Fly, what do you think is number one in this remake?
My gut is telling me that they're going to go with House of Wax.
No.
Oh, thank God! Thank God.
This one is widely considered to be one of the best horror remakes ever. But I will say, I don't really consider it a remake because they took the source material, which totally changed the trajectory of the movie compared to the original.
Could you let me in on the secret?
It is The Thing. Have you ever seen?
I've never seen the original.
So the original is basically a 60s, 50s sci-fi monster movie, but the monster is like a big vegetable guy.
Okay.
And he just kind of runs around and goes through, walls and stuff. There's none of the paranoia. There's none of the shape shifting. There's none of which was in the original source material,
right?
Which is in Carpenter's,
right? And I love Carpenter's The Thing. It's a great movie.
It is a classic.
It is indeed. So I might have to check that out though, because I do enjoy like cheesy 60s sci-fi. Late 50s, early 60s.
I will say not cheesy. I will say one of my favorite, if you can find it, sci-fi / horror movies is Quatermass in the Pit.
Never seen it.
You should look it up.
I will.
Okay, we can move to another list.
Okay, Mark, what's our next list?
Okay, this one comes from Slash Film.
Another non-clickbaity list, I'm sure.
And this one is horror remakes that are better than the originals. Kind of like the last one. So we have,
oh boy,
1992, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Okay.
The question I have is it really a remake of like the Bela Lugosi Dracula?
It is not, under any circumstances.
Yeah, right.
It's more an exploration of the original source material than the original was. And I love both versions.
I think the original is great for its time. I think the Bram Stoker's Dracula, the 1992 one, it's good, but again, I'm not a vampire fan, so a lot of that gothic romance element, to it. I think Gary Oldman's very good.
Yeah, of course.
Kind of gives like a Hannibal Lecter type performance in it.
It's a very predatory performance. He's a predator through the whole movie.
Like if he went, I wouldn't be surprised. And I'm not saying he's copying Anthony Hopkins or anything, but it just felt kind of like that.
Agreed.
But I've only seen this a couple of times. Not a vampire fan, not a Dracula fan, so
right.
I don't really feel like revisiting it. But yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Is it better than the original?
No. They're two different movies. I don't consider it a remake.
So this next one makes me want to say Slash Film, Go Home You're Drunk.
Okay.
I actually have not seen the original with Jack Nicholson in it, which was a Roger Corman movie. Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh. So you can't know. I mean, one is a movie and one is a musical. And it's a very Disney-esque musical. You cannot compare these two movies.
Yeah, I have not seen the original. So
the original is a great black and white, and it's more of a sci-fi movie than it is a horror movie. Anyway, I do appreciate that the ending is much darker. Yeah, the ending of the original, the plants win.
I think that was supposed to be the ending of the remake too, and then they changed it. I think they
Well,
shot,
because it's a fucking musical.
but I think they shot like um, supermassive Audreys walking around the city, and then they changed it.
I did not see that. So, but
Yeah,
I do love the musical version. I mean, I think it's a fun musical.
I am.
It
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I enjoy it. I think it's a fun musical to watch, and there's a lot of big names in that movie.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of musicals,
Mm-hmm.
in general, but I thought
Right.
the songs were quality in this.
I agree.
Okay,
So
um,
so that's garbage. Yeah, they're that being on their list is garbage. Anyway, go on.
next I have Crazies. Already talked about it. This one again is a little controversial because they're kind of sort of different mediums almost. It Stephen King's It.
Okay, so I love the '90s version because of the nostalgia. Right? It's not it's a made for TV horror movie. That's all it is, and it took 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
Because they tried to explore the entire book. The casting was great. The chemistry was great. It was well done for being a made for TV movie or miniseries or whatever you want to call it. The movies are much more brutal. They're much more dark. But even still, there's parts of that where they didn't explore the source material. So
Well,
you can't really compare the two, I don't think.
There's a certain scene where they couldn't.
They could have.
Which scene am I talking about?
Okay, I don't know if you're talking about the baby eating scene or the rape scene or the sex scene.
Yeah, the sex scene. There's no
Yeah,
way.
they could not have explored that, and that was not even entering into my mind. But like, there's
baby, I don't care.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Delicious.
I mean,
I was a teenager when the first movie came out, so or when the miniseries was on TV. So
right. So what do
I
you?
don't know if nostalgia plays into it.
What do you think? Who plays a better Pennywise?
Tim Curry, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, Bill. Is it Bill Skarsgård? No. What's that Skarsgård's name?
Yeah, it's that Skarsgård.
Is it Bill?
Bill Skarsgård.
Okay. Yeah. So I think he did a great job. I just don't think he compares because they're two different characters.
Right.
Like the Pennywise from Tim Curry's version was more comical and menacing. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like you knew he was going to do some bad shit, but he did it all with a smile. Whereas Bill Skarsgård was essentially just doing it to terrorize the kids. He was in no way acting like it was fun for him. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Yeah. So what I think, to me, it's two different, and there's probably other examples of this in cinema. Two really good actors doing their own take on a character.
Agreed.
And I think both work.
Mm-hmm. They do.
And I don't really. It's almost unfair to compare them because they took the character and obviously the TV made for TV movie, you can't really go too far, but it's almost like they just, and kudos to Bill Skarsgård because he could have just looked at the Tim Curry version and said, "Well, I'm kind of just going to act like him," but no, he made it his own.
He did.
To me, I think. If you compare both, obviously, to me, the movies seem better because it's got a huge budget. It's newer,
right?
So you got all the CGI and everything else you can do with that, which adds into what the book was talking about,
right?
But I really like them both.
I don't disagree. I mean, I did see both films in the theaters. I don't think any of it was done badly. I don't really compare the two because of the different mediums.
Right. So that's why I said, so I think that one's a little wonky. Okay, so they talk about The Thing next. Okay, Friday the 13th. Wow, a lot of people like the Friday the 13th remake. The Fly. See if there's anything different on here. Oh, okay.
13
Ghosts. 13 Ghosts.
Okay, so I did not see the original.
The original is a camp classic.
If I'm being honest, I only saw the remake last year.
Uh-huh.
So I do have some opinions on that. I thought it was okay. It was very in that time period from when the movies came out, because you had the House on Haunted Hill remake was done around the same time. And they all had that flashy, and I mean that by lights flashing, like the strobes and flashing back and forth to different scenes and just to startle you. So I thought it was okay for its time. I didn't think it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think the House on Haunted Hill remake, it was better than this one.
Agreed.
Even though it's got an awful CGI crappy ending.
Yeah.
Compared to the original, I mean, they're different movies at different times. It's hard to compare them, really.
Agreed.
I don't. I guess I would watch the remake more than I would watch the original.
Probably. Okay. That is probably the case. I would agree with you there, but I constantly mean to revisit the original, right. But I've never seen it. So I'm curious. So I have a question. I want your thoughts. The Haunting.
Yes.
Original or remake?
Original.
Okay, that's fair.
Is that a joke?
No, it's not. I enjoyed both, and I'm not gonna lie. There's a scene in the original that constantly haunts me. Like it keeps coming up in my mind over the years. So I know that the original was a much more effective film. But for many, many years, I remembered this scene and did not know what movie it came from.
Okay.
And that's when they're sitting around the dining room table, mm-hmm. and they're talking to everybody about the paranormal events in their lives.
Yeah.
And the doctor's telling Eleanor about when it rained stones on her house.
Mm-hmm.
And that scene always stuck with me, like from the first time I saw the movie. And for many, many years, I would think about it and go, God, what movie was that? And then I finally got vindication when I rewatched The Haunting for something. I don't know why, but I rewatched the original Haunting and I went, oh my God, that's the movie.
So it might be another movie too.
Are you going to go to 10 Little Indians?
No. So there is a scene. So a very famous writer kind of almost remade The Haunting.
Okay.
And it's called Rose Red.
Oh yeah, I've seen Rose Red.
So there is a scene in that where there's rocks raining.
Oh yeah, but it's not that movie because I was fully aware at that point, and I knew it was a black and white film.
I see. Yeah, I mean, the remake I've watched a few times. Like mm-hmm. if it's on TV and there's nothing else on, I can watch it. I mean, I think some of the performances are pretty good. Yeah, but it's just Luke Wilson's in it, and it's like, yeah. I just don't think it's obviously as good as the original by any stretch of the imagination, because the original is one of the classic haunted house movies. The remake is just there.
Well, yeah.
Next up, I have not seen the original or the remake yet, and I didn't even realize it was classed as horror. But going by this list, it probably isn't. Nightmare Alley.
Okay, so I saw the remake.
The Guillermo del Toro.
Visually, it's a stunning movie.
Is it a horror?
No.
Would you classify? I thought it was
like a drama. Straight up drama.
Thriller sort of thing, yeah.
It's not even a thriller. It was, honestly, I was bored through the entire movie.
Yeah, I've heard some of that.
Ray loved it for the visuals, because he loves all the wigs and the makeup and the hair and the clothes because stylistically it's beautiful, like almost everything Guillermo del Toro does.
Right.
It's got that rich quality and the beautiful colors and everything's so polished. but I just the story is boring and it was too fucking long.
Yeah, I have not seen either, so I cannot comment.
Okay.
So this next one, they went through The Ring and a couple other ones we've already talked about, but the next one I 100,000% agree is way better than the original. Is an actual classic, and it does not get talked about as much as it deserves. And this is 1988's The Blob. Have you seen The Blob?
I've never seen the original.
Okay.
I did see the remake and I did enjoy it.
See, I kind of look at Phantoms and The Blob as like sister movies.
What?
There's a lot of similarities between them.
Okay.
Even especially at the end when they're like government guys in the sewers, like in both movies.
Okay.
But I think the remake, which was Chuck Russell, who did Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Oh, okay.
I think The Blob is brutal. The Blob eats kids, and the Blob is awesome. And you come up with ideas about what other monster in horror movies could defeat the Blob.
I'm not doing a versus.
It's hard. It's hard to because the Blob's real only weakness is getting cold. Okay. Otherwise, it just takes over and starts dissolving you.
Well, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a Blob. I think it's definitely an underrated movie, or not talked about enough. I don't like using the word underrated.
And you are talking about the Kevin Dillon version, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There was a supposed sequel that they were going to come up with where the Blob talks, and they were going to call it Blobbermouth. And I'm not.
You're kidding? Please tell me you're kidding.
I am not kidding. I read that.
Oh my God!
In the Scream magazine in the late '80s, early '90s.
Oh Jesus!
And
okay.
Then there was the supposed Rob Zombie remake, which I'm glad never happened. Obviously.
Yeah, me too, because he ruins everything he touches.
Apart from Sherry, nobody can ruin her, right?
Don't even get me started.
All right. So next up, we have The Invisible Man 2020. Lee Winnell, I think.
Yep. That's true. I thought that it was an effective remake. I thought it was okay. Oh my God. Now I'm trying to think of the Kevin Bacon version.
Right. So the original was what, like Claude Rains? I think that was
yeah. But what was the Kevin Bacon version of The Invisible Man?
Right. That was a Paul Verhoeven one?
Yeah. So that one I thought is far superior to the 2020 remake or 2021 remake.
I need to rewatch that Kevin Bacon one. I don't remember too much about this. So for this one, I think there's a lot to like about it, the 2020 version.
There is, and by no stretch of the imagination am I saying it's a bad movie. It was just okay.
I kind of love the aspect of making her seem insane.
The gaslighting. You like gaslighting people is what you're saying.
Yeah, so basically, him just going around, like killing her sister and stuff, like framing her and doing all that sort of stuff. I thought that was the most interesting part of the movie. Where it fell down for me is that at the end, it's like she was not too smart. The things that she did that she couldn't have figured out in advance, but she had done them in advance, and it all worked out. That's the only part that kind of dragged it down for me. Does that make sense?
I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, and that's exactly what it is.
Right, but she did things. She puts things into motion where she could not have predicted that it would have turned out the way it would have turned out.
Right. It's essentially a case of getting lucky for every single step to be accomplished properly.
But other than that, I mean, I guess the actress is famous for A Handmaid's Tale. I haven't seen it, but I thought she was very good.
Yep.
So there's a lot to like about it. I
agreed.
Just kind of the ending just let it down for me.
Yeah.
What else do we have here? Okay, you brought this up earlier.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
It is the classic 2005 House of Wax.
Oh, fuck me. So I'm going to tell you the only redeeming quality about this remake was when Paris Hilton gets a pole to the head. That's it. Watching her slide down that pole was the only part of the movie I enjoyed.
What interests me is that they've just come up with House of Wax as the name, like it's a remake, but it's really a remake of Tourist Trap. It's not a remake of the Vincent Price House of Wax.
Agreed.
It's
agreed. It was not. I mean, essentially, they took the "oh God, they're dipping them in wax" thing, and then everything else just was taken from other movies.
It reminds me of like the Roger Corman movies where they, like the Haunted Palace, where they said Edgar Allan Poe's The Haunted Palace, and they have like a bit of a poem from Edgar Allan Poe at the start, but it's really based on H.P. Lovecraft.
Right.
They just wanted that name in there.
Yeah, of course.
Weird because a 2005 movie, I would think most people, especially moviegoers, would not know Tourist Trap, and they would not know House of Wax anyway. So it's not like it's got brand recognition.
Well, I mean, no, not really. But I hated the movie. I thought it was garbage, and the only redeeming quality was that Paris Hilton died.
I remember liking certain aspects of it, but I don't even remember what they were.
Yeah.
Was there a couple of brutal moments or something in it?
There were the deaths were not easy. They were definitely on the more vicious side.
Right. So I remember liking certain aspects of it, but it's just forgettable to me.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, let's see if there's anything else. What? Okay. What is this one? Film School Rejects. Let's see if they have anything original.
Oh, God.
I don't know who this is. Number 10. This movie, I think the original is still better, but I really like the remake. It is the 2009 slasher, My Bloody Valentine. 3D.
Oh my God. I love the original. I think the original was fantastic, and the scene where the lady falls out of the dryer is etched into my brain. I'll never forget it. The remake was completely forgettable.
I thought the remake did enough tweaking to the original formula to still make it worthwhile.
I disagree.
I think this was the age of the new 3D too.
Well, it came out at the same time as the Friday the 13th remake.
Right.
And it has another WB star on it, Jensen Ackles, who was the brother of the guy that starred in the Friday the 13th remake on the show Supernatural.
Is he the guy in The Boys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. He plays Soldier Boy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it is full of WB actors, but it also has Tom Atkins in it, so that
it does.
That gives it an additional point.
Didn't save it for me
though. Yeah, I think the original is better. I don't mind the remake.
Yeah, I just don't have any love at all. It was completely forgettable.
Okay, so they're talking about Oh, House of Wax popped up again. I guess a lot of people like House of Wax.
Puke.
Like these are very mainstream. Like they don't have like a lot of like foreign movie remakes or anything.
Right.
Okay, Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, because everybody trusts that site. Right?
Of course they do.
25 best horror remakes. My Bloody
25. Oh, we're gonna be here for a while.
No, because we've talked about a bunch of them. My Bloody Valentine is number 25. Evil Dead, 24. Number 23, Cat People.
That was a remake?
Mm-hmm.
I saw the one with Natasha Kinski, but I've never seen any other one.
Yeah, that's a remake of a 60s movie.
Oh,
which
interesting.
is very famous for like a bus kill, I believe.
Okay.
I haven't seen either.
Okay, well, I do remember in the 80s seeing Cat People and enjoying it, but if I'm being honest, the only reason I remember it is because Natasha Kinski was the first woman I ever saw naked on screen.
Not the last.
No, clearly not. But that's why that's the only scene I remember is her transformation when she's crawling naked on all fours.
It also has Malcolm McDowell in it, right?
I never would have remembered that.
Okay, next up is Willard. Which,
Yeah.
with our favorite geek, Crispin Glover.
I absolutely adore that man. He is weird in all the right ways, and I loved the remake. I cannot say I've ever seen the original.
I have seen the remake, but I don't remember anything about it. Oh, yeah. R. Lee Emery's in it. Maybe I'll have to look that up again.
Okay.
21, Suspiria. Oh, number 20. This is a good one if you've seen it. 1990, Tom Savini directed Night of the Living Dead.
Nope.
No?
Oh, wait. Night of the Living Dead. Yes, that is the one. Is that the one? The remake, I mean. Is the one? Is that the one with the guy with the slit throat with the laugh?
I don't. Night of the Living Dead, the remake of the George A. Romero movie?
Yeah. There's or is that the one with Tony Todd?
It's the one with Tony Todd and Patricia Tallman.
Right. I am thinking of you know what? For some reason I just flashed on the guy with the slit throat that's laughing is from Prince of Darkness. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I love the original, obviously. Remake I thought was solid. I do remember parts of it, and I remember enjoying watching it.
I feel it's a good like social update, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. I don't know that I would consider it a remake, more of just an update for the time period.
Yeah, because we have Patricia Tallman as Barbara, right? Barbara in the original is very kind of 60-esque woman who just she's just overwhelmed, so she's just on a couch and she can't do anything, whereas Patricia Tallman's very much the action star. So I mean I think the original is a classic. I think the remake is very good, but I think the original is better.
I can understand that point. I do appreciate the original and will rewatch that on occasion. I don't rewatch the remake. I've seen it a handful of times and I don't seek it out.
But it's good. It's good. So, and sometimes like a remake just being good and a little bit different is good enough.
Agreed.
I mean, maybe if we have how long have we been doing this? Like an hour? Maybe we got some of the worst remake lists.
Yeah, we're up to about an hour now.
Okay, that's not too bad. Number 19 on their list is Anthony Hopkins in Red Dragon, which is
Red Dragon. Okay,
and a remake of Manhunter.
Right. And I'm going to be honest, I probably preferred Red Dragon.
Again, they both seem like time capsules to me.
Yeah, agreed.
The Manhunter was Michael Mann.
Yep.
very 80s. It's very, Miami Vice.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see a different actor as Lecter in it. And I do like what's his name that plays the bad guy in it?
I don't remember.
He was in RoboCop 2. I don't remember, but in the remake, we have Ray Fiennes, who I thought is too good looking to have all these psychological issues. Because
That's your takeaway? He's
well,
pretty, so he can't have mental issues?
no. Because
I think many men would disagree with you.
No, because a lot of the character's issues come from how he sees himself.
Right, it's body dysmorphia.
Right, but the only thing that's wrong with him is he's got a hair lip.
Yes. But speaking as somebody who is a formerly very heavy person, that never goes away. The minute you start seeing your imperfection like that, it just continues to compound through your whole life.
I don't know. It just didn't, like, he's a good actor. It just didn't ring true compared to Manhunter to me.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I disagree. I definitely thought that Red Dragon was superior. And that maybe because of my love for Anthony Hopkins. Like I think Sir Anthony Hopkins is amazing in whatever he does, and I enjoy everything I've ever seen him in.
I'd like the pacing of Red Dragon better. I will say that.
Okay.
Because Michael Mann can be quite slow. Okay, next one, horror or not, I guess. For the remake version anyway, is the Will Smith classic, 2007's. What am I going to say, Jim?
Independence Day?
No.
What?
I Am Legend.
Oh, I Am Legend, yeah. Never saw the original. And to be honest, I'm not crazy about the Will Smith version.
The original with Vincent Price, The Last Man on Earth, is excellent. It's based on a Richard Matheson story.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also remade as The Omega Man with Charlton Heston. I thought the Will Smith one, they took like weird religious things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like the dog dying. I thought Will Smith was fine in it.
Yeah.
But the CGI, quote unquote, vampires were fucking dreadful.
Agreed.
So I will take the Vincent Price one any day, every day.
I'll have to look that up. I didn't realize that the original was a Vincent Price movie, so I'll have to look that up.
Last Man on Earth.
I'll look that up.
Number 17, like I always feel like I'm going to watch the original or the remake, but I never have.
Okay.
It keeps on popping up on streaming services, and that is A Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Okay, so I've seen the original. I've not seen the remake, and I'm going to be honest. I was bored. I did not enjoy it at all.
Title more than anything, and people, it comes up a lot on different things.
It does, but I found it to be boring, and I honestly don't remember anything about the movie. I think I fell asleep twice trying to watch it.
Okay, so number 16. We kind of talked. Well, I kind of talked about this before, which is Abel Ferrara's Body Snatcher.
Oh,
1993.
Yes, you did, and I've not seen it. So
it's different because it's basically it's an army brat girl, and it's based in like a military location.
Okay,
and it's worth checking out if you like the other the 1988 one. Okay, The Crazies, The Ring, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Fright Night, Piranha. So you have not seen that?
No, I've not seen the remake.
So the remake, the Alexander Aja remake, is kind of like over the top nudity and crazy piranha kills. It's fun. But
Right, that's what I was gonna say. So it sounds to me like I'm missing out on a lot of fun here.
yeah, but I think the original is more fun.
Okay, that's fair. I did enjoy the original,
Yeah.
and I was it the sequel or the third one that Soleil Moon Frye is in?
That who's in?
Soleil Moon Frye, Punky Brewster.
I don't know.
She's she it was her first adult role, and she dies
Well,
essentially.
that's good.
It was she was a child star in the 80s here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this was our first glimpse of her being grown up. So it was kind of exciting at that time because a lot of us grew up with watching her as a child.
Might have been so Piranha 2, in the original timeline. So the first
Is
one,
that the spawning?
that is the spawning with Lance Henriksen, which I talked to him about whenever I met him at Spooky Empire.
Right.
Yeah, we hated the director. like we didn't do anything. Or not the director, because it was James Cameron, the producer, because they kept on like stiffing them for money.
Right.
And of course, the original Piranha was Joe Dante.
Okay.
Right. So Joe Dante, who did Gremlins, etc.
Let me see if this is the one that she was in.
And so my two favorite Jaws knockoffs are Alligator, which is number one, and Piranha, which is number two, and they're both written by John Sayles, who also wrote The Howling.
Oh, did not know that. Okay. Okay. So I don't know. I'll have to look it up later. I was not able to locate it. I know she was in one of the Piranha movies.
Okay, next one up is not a horror. I don't know why they're including it, but it is 1991's. Wow, it's a long time ago. Cape Fear with our friend Bobby De Niro.
So I'm going to say this about that. They are both great movies for their time.
Mm-hmm.
The remake was much more brutal.
Yeah, which, stands to reason, right?
Yeah.
If you're remaking 60s Robert Mitchum, right?
Right.
Movie. I thought Robert De Niro was fantastic in this movie.
Agreed. I thought everybody in that film was fantastic.
But no, so it's either the way she decided to act it, but I think it's probably in the script. I hate Juliette Lewis in this movie.
Why?
Because she's annoying. She's stupid. She's stupid and annoying.
I mean, she's a kid that's being dragged two different ways through most of the movie. Like, and she's essentially trying to find herself at that point in her life. And she's got the psychopath, and she's got her father.
And that's what I mean. I don't know whether it's the writing or her performance.
Yeah, and I generally like Juliette Lewis in most things.
So let me just say, I hate the character that she's playing. Maybe
that's fair. That's fair. I do think it was a bit odd the way that character develops through the movie, because there's almost this weird sexual tension between her and Bobby De Niro.
Well, yeah, because
and given her age, or her supposed age in the movie, I found it creepy.
Yeah,
and very uncomfortable, and I don't think that I would have reacted the same way. But then again, maybe I would have. Who knows?
So just skipping past some of the ones we were already talked about. Number 6, We Are What We Are.
I've never heard of that.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it. I didn't realize it was a remake. I do see that Wyatt Russell is in it, so it might be interesting. Kurt Russell's son.
Yeah, who was also in The Boys.
No, he was. No.
Yes. Oh no, I'm sorry.
No, he was Captain America.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
I think you're thinking about Soldier Boy, and
I was again, but so his defining feature for me, Wyatt Russell, is his chin. He's got a very wide chin.
Right. If I'm sure you're a big fan of Premier League, quote unquote, soccer.
Am I?
No. Look up Harry. If you Google Harry Kane, Kane,
Okay.
they look remarkably similar. Look him up right now.
I don't see it.
Oh, they're like side by side similar.
He's got his chin is too narrow.
You need to put your glasses on. All right, next one. Let Me In.
Never saw either one.
I've seen the remake, which I like. I still have to get around to the original, which I hear is better.
Okay.
The Fly, Nosferatu, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Okay. What? This is this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. Ron, okay. Go home. You're on meth. So there. Let's remember the title of this: the 25 best horror movie remakes.
Okay.
And number 1 is Evil Dead 2.
I'm sorry, what?
Their number 1 on their list of 25 best horror movie remakes is Evil Dead 2.
Okay, so I mean, if they're saying it's a remake of Evil Dead 1, I can understand that.
But it's not.
It's not, but it essentially retells the same story for most of the movie.
No, it's not. It's not a remake of Evil Dead.
I agree that it's not, but I can see if that's where they're going with that comparison.
But if it's not a remake, then how can that be on a list of top remakes?
So based on your reaction to what I'm saying, I'm guessing that's exactly what they're doing. They're saying it's a remake of Evil Dead.
I assume so.
Well, what does it say the original was? Because it hasn't been remade yet.
No, it doesn't go into any detail. It just says number 1 is Evil Dead 2 at 95%. It gives a critic consensus synopsis starring and directed by. It does not give any reasoning to why they think it's a remake, etc.
Yeah, because it hasn't been remade yet.
Right. They're talking about the 1987 Evil Dead 2.
Right, which is
number one best horror movie remake.
It does spend a good portion of the movie retelling the story of the first movie, and it does change the story of the first one.
So this was supposed to be a continuation, right?
Right.
But they lost the rights to Evil Dead, so they couldn't use some of the parts from Evil Dead as an introduction to Evil Dead 2. So they had to recast it and redo it as a little brief summary at the start.
Okay.
But it is a sequel. It is not a remake.
I would agree. And I will say the best scene in that entire movie is when the I want to call her Cassie because she played that character on my mom's favorite soap forever, but when the lady swallows the eyeball.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was the best scene ever. And you can tell it's all filmed in reverse. Like, you can tell she's actually spitting it up. She's not really swallowing it.
What?
Yeah.
You're crazy.
No, I'm not.
Did you watch, have we talked about this? Have you watched Doctor Strange 2?
I have.
Obviously, giant eyeball.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many Evil Dead 2.
There really are.
And even Evil Dead.
Yep.
Okay. So let's have a look at worst horror remakes.
All of them.
Let's see. Who will we take here? Ranker, YouTube. Film Mining 101. What does this got to say about itself? So number 10 is maybe what I would put near the top for me is the 2005 Tom Welling, Selma Blair unclassic. What's the opposite of classic?
The opposite of classic would be torture.
John Carpenter's The Fog remake.
Yeah, that was pretty garbage.
Uh,
Can I just say this about that though? I saw Tom Welling recently on Lucifer. The guy doesn't even look like himself anymore. Like he's really changed.
Yeah, okay.
Like he didn't look anything like he did on Smallville.
Never watched it.
I'm sorry?
Never watched it.
Oh.
Surprisingly enough. The Fog has the dubious honor of, I think, the only movie I've ever fallen asleep watching.
Really?
I do not fall asleep watching movies.
I do.
I either watch them or I stop and then I go to sleep. I never fall asleep watching a movie.
Okay.
But this is why it would be maybe in the top 2 for me, because the movie's never done that before to me.
Okay.
Is that bad? Okay, next one is one that you're going to disagree with.
Am I though?
This one is probably one of your favorite movies. It's 2010's Jackie Earl Haley. You know, what? Rooney Mara. Absolutely, it's the bomb.
It's fucking garbage.
A Nightmare on, or sorry, it's just Nightmare on Elm Street.
It's fucking garbage. It is.
What do you mean?
It is absolute garbage. No disrespect to Jackie Haley or the cast, because I'm not faulting their performances. It's all because of the story.
It's a great story.
It's a fucking abortion of a film.
This is one of my favorite remakes ever.
You are so full of shit. Your eyes are brown, sir.
I'm just poking the bear right now.
I know. I know you.
how can you? So here's the thing. Like, how can you look at the original movie and say, I'm going to copy this scene, but do it with CGI, but make it look worse?
Well,
like the part whenever Freddy is stretching through the wall in the original,
right?
With the lighting and everything's great. Oh, let's do that in CGI and make it look like garbage. Just because there was 2010, and we should use CGI. Did you not look at that and think, it's better just to get a sheet of plastic? But
there's so much wrong with the film. It's hard to find things that were right with it.
Have you ever had a micro nap?
No.
No, neither have I.
The original's a classic. Absolute classic.
I will say the only positive I have is I do like the opening diner scene.
See, I've completely forgotten most of that movie.
I think he cuts his own throat, and it's a very good scene.
Okay, whatever.
Anyway, but the rest is garbage.
Move on.
All right. Okay. Funnily enough, on the best remakes, Fright Night is on the worst.
Okay. I mean, again, it was okay. That's all I have to say about it. It was okay.
Okay, and here is a cult classic, both the original and the remake, for very different reasons. It is the 2006 Nicolas Cage vehicle, Neil LaBute directed, The Wicker Man. Have you seen The Wicker Man?
I've seen them both, and I hated them both. They were boring, and I did not like it at all.
I can see like people not liking the original, just because of the presentation of it.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the story is good, but I can understand people being like, I don't like the way this story is shown.
And it's it's not even so much the story for me. It's just the whole feel. Like both movies. Well, I mean, I honestly don't remember much about the Nicolas Cage movie, but the original had Donald Sutherland, right?
Christopher Lee.
Christopher. Okay, sorry.
Edward
My
Woodward.
mistake.
I have,
Yeah.
I have a joke about Edward Woodward, by the way.
Okay. So I remember seeing that movie. However, I don't there was no connection to anything in that film for me. Like I didn't like either one.
So again, I don't like musicals, and the first or the original Wicker Man is somewhat a musical, but I love the music in that too.
Okay.
I think Edward Woodward is great in it. And
Say his name one more time for me.
Here is my Edward Woodward joke. Why does Edward Woodward have 4 D's in his name?
No idea.
Because if he didn't, he'd be called Ewar Woowar.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so the Nicolas Cage one is amazing in its own right, but for all the wrong reasons. Again, it's one of these. They went to make a good movie, but it turned out to be an awful movie. So, but it's so bad, it's good.
I'm sorry. I think I just had a micro nap. Are we on to the next movie yet?
Okay. Number 6. You may not like it. It is the 1999 Liam Neeson vehicle, The Haunting.
I can see it. However, I did enjoy the remake. I did. It was. I thought it was a nice little ghost story. But I do think that the original is far superior.
Yeah, I think we talked about this one. So, so number 5 in the worst horror remakes of all time is the 2006 The Hills of Eyes.
Huh. Okay.
So, to take a little part of what they were saying, as far as why, another remake of Wes Craven's filmography, The Hills of Eyes is an excuse for several moments of excessive sexual and physical violence that really push the limits of the depiction in mainstream film. While there's definitely some craftsmanship involved in the making effects, the film quickly devolves into the now extinct revenge porn of that era, with so much violence that sitting through it making you wonder, what is the meaning of this?
But that sounds like a good time to me.
So, like, I hate this sort of torture porn thing or revenge porn thing.
But see, I never got that impression from this movie.
These people
ever.
Can go fuck themselves. Sorry, they probably think that's a porn thing too, but it's not literal porn. I mean, it's nonsense.
Right.
Oh, okay. Number 4, another movie again that's on both lists. Friday the 13th. We've talked about it, but it's interesting how different lists will have the same one for best and worst.
I will tell you exactly what my mother always told me. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has them, and most of them stink.
Well, apart from my opinions.
I stand by my original statement.
Okay, here's one we haven't talked about. Number 3. Well, we have talked about it in a previous episode, is the 2015 Sam Rockwell vehicle, Poltergeist.
Okay, so it was an okay update to that movie. It was just okay. Like that's all I have to say.
There's 2 things that come to mind when talking about the remake, and I don't remember really anything else, is the white privilege of I've lost my job, we're going to lose our house, but let me go on a spending spree. Hey kids, here's like a whole bunch of like gifts. And the second part is the drone going in. Okay. But other than that, I don't really remember much of that. There was a weird thing with Jared Harris and the other psychic woman or whatever, and apparently they had a relationship before, and that's important somehow or something. Like, don't care. It's pointless.
Right.
Okay. Oh. Let's see if we've seen this one. Number 2 is the 2019 Child's Play.
Yep, I've seen it.
Yeah.
So here's what I'll say about that. Had it not been a Child's Play movie, it would have been interesting.
I think they did enough to change the movie to make it interesting enough.
I think it should have been not a Chucky movie and not a Child's Play movie. It should have been another doll, like an inspired, because I thought the idea was extremely interesting, but it failed because it tried to force itself into that series.
I was never a big fan of the original series, although I love Brad Dourif, and I really liked the more recent ones.
Your neighbor's going to hate to hear you say that. You know that, right?
What do you mean?
Well, who lives near you?
My neighbors?
Yeah. There's one person you always tell me lives near you.
Oh, yeah. No, well,
yeah, he's going to hate you after this. You know that, right? Because you know he's an avid listener.
Well, no, but the last time I talked with Andy, no, I did say that Cult and Curse were my favorite movies, and he was very happy about that.
Okay.
Out of the series. But the remake, I thought they changed enough about it to make it interesting. I know what you're saying. Just make it, but it's marketing and everything else.
I just thought it was an interesting idea that suffered from the fact that they tried to make it a Child's Play movie.
Right. And who did the voice of Child's Play?
It was Brad Dourif still, wasn't it? Oh, no, it was Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill.
Hamill, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, number 1, I have not seen this remake.
I have a question. Have you seen the series?
No, but I probably should because I hear it's very good.
It's how do I put this?
I like Fiona Dourif.
It's a little too woke for me, but it's really cool to see different people from the movies coming back as their original characters.
Well, I have seen Fiona Dourif playing Brad.
Yep, and Jennifer Tilly will actually be in the next season.
Right. She's like 65 now or something. She's really old.
Yeah, I actually really old. Who are you kidding? We're pushing 50, buddy.
Speak for yourself.
Well, you're older than I am.
Now I've decided at my age I'm going to start aging backwards.
Sir, you are not Casey Kasem. You don't get that privilege.
I'm Brad Pitt in that movie, where he's.
You are not Benjamin Button, sir.
There we go. That's the dude.
Yeah.
So number 1, speaking of woke, I've heard that this is just like over the top, like nonsense, which is the Black Christmas 2019 version, not the first remake of it.
I did not see the 2019 version. I saw the 80s version, and that was it.
Yeah, there was another one in the 2000s.
Oh, yes, I remember. But I haven't seen either one.
So let's see if there's. Oh, okay. Paste Magazine, 10 of the worst horror remakes.
Paste. You said paste.
Yeah.
As in the tooth variety.
Right. Paste Magazine. Number 10 is The Omen.
I didn't hate the remake.
Yeah,
that was Julie Stiles, right?
Yes.
I hate it.
What's his face?
I mean, I can't say I remember much of it.
Yep, that is my takeaway. I don't really remember much of it. I don't remember, if I'm being honest, and I don't remember really liking it. I just don't remember anything about it.
Right, and I don't. But if I'm being 100% transparent, I don't remember much from the original either. What I do remember is the scene in The Omen 2 where the guy gets his head chopped off by a pane of glass. I thought that was amazing.
No, that's the original.
Oh, is that the original movie? Okay, so that's the only scene I remember is when that head gets chopped off by a pane of glass. I always thought it was the beginning of Omen 2.
That is in the middle. That's a photographer played by, oh, what's his name? Unfortunately, just passed away recently. British actor that was in Waxworks.
Don't know.
He was also in Star. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to look it up right now because we need to move on. You are going to be fuming about this, that it's on the worst remakes list. Because I know it's a favorite of yours. Like, you won't stop talking about it. And that is 2007 Rob Zombie remake of Halloween.
Jesus fucking Christ. I 100% agree. I thought it was garbage.
I mean, for the positives.
What positives?
It was violent.
It was wasted violence. But I mean, it was
like to dice.
He concocted a ridiculous and convoluted story to give Michael Myers a reason to kill. When the whole draw for that character is that there is no reason for it. He's just a killer.
Right. So it's almost like they did the serial killer checklist. Okay.
Yeah.
Bullied, check. Comes from like a broken sort of family where, stripper mom and drunk dad. Okay, check.
Yeah, and guess who plays his
kills animals? Check. Okay, so now we know he's a bona fide serial killer. Check, right?
Yeah.
But then they turn this kid who's just. They try to make him. They humanize him, right? They're like, this is a normal guy. And then the next thing is he's 7 foot tall. He's like hugely built. I don't know I don't know if there's a fitness program in the mental asylum or anything, but he's huge and he can teleport. Like, why humanize? I could see if he wanted to humanize Michael Myers, but make him be vulnerable. And that would be an interesting take about it.
I disagree. I think it would be garbage also, but that's neither.
But at least it would be different. At least it would be different. At least it would be consistent. You humanize Michael Myers. You make him a human being. You make him
Rob Zombie.
But
and
he
with
goes
this,
from like,
sorry, go ahead.
Like, honestly, it's like Rob Zombie's like, oh, what would I like? Rob Zombie has like a hard on for these sort of downtrodden redneck type things, and the kid's got long hair, just like I'm sure Rob Zombie would like whenever he was growing up in his middle class suburbs. But he loves just the trailer trash thing. But
he loves the idea of being trailer trash. Right. He doesn't actually know anything about it.
Right, but if you're going to make Michael Myers be this trailer trash kid who has got all the hallmarks of being a serial killer, then be consistent whenever he's older. Don't make him 7'5" and built like a wrestler, because that's who played him.
Right. Taylor May.
Who teleports. Make him vulnerable like a human. I thought that would be more interesting, but
you know what my favorite part of this movie was?
The end credits?
No. The scene where Laurie falls off the roof, and if you watch the scene closely, she doesn't know which leg to limp on. It's hysterical because if you watch her run around the house, like, there's no reason for her to have fallen off the roof. The only reason for her to have fallen off the roof is to have her fall off the roof.
What I will say is that on the positive note for Rob Zombie's Halloween is that it is better than Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
I never saw the second one. Because, again, he forces his wife into everything.
Well,
she is a garbage actress who does not need to be in film. And she's everything about her. She might be a very nice person, but every time I see her on film, it's an instant I'm shutting this movie off.
So even more than the first Halloween movie, and I watched the second with my wife, and it's like if we have a drinking game for every fucking fucking bomb that he had to fucking write into his fucking script because it's fucking edgy as fuck, because swearing is like fucking hardcore fucking shit, motherfucker. We would have been dead in the first 10 minutes. It's like, you know, you don't have to write every single character like they're.
I mean, I swear,
white trash, right?
I cuss like a sailor, and I have at times considered myself white trash, but I don't need that. Not everybody's like me. Not everybody talks like me, and that's what makes this world interesting.
Right? Not like I just think he thinks it's edgy.
Well, it's because he has no idea what goes on in the real world.
Here's the thing about Rob Zombie. I think like he, as a director, there is promise there. As a writer, he's gone. Like, direct something, somebody else for it.
Yeah, okay. That could be fair. If it's not his vision, then it might be okay.
But I guess we'll see with with the Munsters, because there'll be no F-bombs in that.
Why? It's on Netflix. Why couldn't there be F-bombs?
Yeah, because I think it's PG-13.
That means they can say fuck once.
Right. But they won't. I don't think they will.
I don't care one way or the other because I'm not going to watch it. It's going to be an abortion.
I think we'll do this as a watch along.
Like hell we will, because I will be screaming the whole time.
Screaming with joy.
No.
Okay, next up, the Fog. We talked about the Fog.
Yeah.
Carnival of Souls, 1990.
So, I've seen the original. I've never seen the remake.
I've seen both. I never really took away much from either. Even though apparently, you know, Carnival of Souls is like a classic to a lot of people.
It is.
It didn't really leave an impression on me.
That's fair. It's not a very memorable movie anyway, so.
Oh, number 5 is One Missed Call.
I've never seen. What is there's an original?
Yes, the original is Takeshi Miike movie.
Oh, yeah, I never saw the original.
Yeah, the original is very good. The remake, it was like I don't even remember.
Yeah, I honestly could not even tell you anything about that movie.
Number 4 is April Fool's Day, 2008.
Oh, fuck me.
Never seen it.
I love the original. The 2018 remake tries too hard to be the original, and it fails on every level. There's no charm. There's no humor. It's just garbage. It's straight up garbage.
I feel like April Fool's Day is a movie that is it's like remaking an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Like there's the twist there, but if you already know the twist, it's kind of pointless to remake it.
They changed that.
Oh, they actually
they changed a lot.
So that is a twist.
Yeah. That twist when I originally saw that movie was great.
Right.
But
a lot of people did that.
They changed a lot of that movie when they remade it.
So what's the point in calling it April Fool's Day?
Because it gives it name recognition.
No, I just mean like, no, I understand that, but the whole point to me of April Fool's Day was going on the Halloween, Friday the 13th, like naming holiday sort of things, right?
Yeah.
But it was a joke on the audience.
Right. So, I mean, at least there was a point to having that name. But I'm going to be honest, I don't remember shit about the movie other than the fact that it does not have anything to do with the storyline. Has nothing to do with the original. It's just the name.
Okay, we already talked about Nightmare on Elm Street. Number 2 is Day of the Dead. I have not seen this one either.
I have not seen either one.
The original, I think, is a bit of an acquired taste because I think that there's stretches in that movie where people could get bored.
Right.
But I really love it.
Okay, that's fair.
The gore effects are great. Tom Savini.
Okay.
Number one is Wicker Man. We already talked about the bees.
Yeah.
The bees.
The bees.
The bees. While I'm looking to see if there's anything else, is there any like remakes or aspects of remakes you just want to talk about in general that haven't been brought up?
My like we said earlier, my thing with remakes is you have to pay homage to the original source material. You can't just make it, oh, it's the same name with the same character, but it really doesn't have anything to do with the same type of material. Sort of like what they did with April Fool's Day. I think that is just setting yourself up for a disaster, and it's not going to be an enjoyable experience for anybody, and it's not going to connect with the original audience.
So one, I just brought up a ranker list, and this was really a remake that I wanted to discuss because paying homage to the original, yes, but have you seen the remake of Psycho?
I have. The shot-for-shot remake you're talking about, right?
So you could say that's paying direct homage.
Yes, I could, and it wasn't. So I don't understand the point of that shot-for-shot remake, if I'm being honest.
Right.
Like, I mean, I did like the fact that they still put Alfred Hitchcock in the same scene. Like his little cameo where Janet Leigh's driving her car. He's one of the people on the sidewalk. And they kept that when Anne Heche is driving the car. He is on the sidewalk.
Uh-oh.
What?
Uh-oh.
Oh, what?
Anne Heche driving a car.
Oh, wow, God. Too soon, sir. Too soon.
I agree completely. What is the point other than having? It's almost like somebody just redrawing the Mona Lisa exactly and saying, "This is art," because
right.
I could talk about art and I can explain to you art, and this is art.
Right. I agree. I did not see a point to it other than to make money, I guess, because it was a novel idea.
I could see the director, what's his name, pitching it to the studio. Hey, we're going to do something outrageous, something that's never been done before. We're going to remake a movie, but we're going to remake it shot for shot, and it's going to blow everybody's mind.
Yeah, and it's just so underwhelming once you get over the fact that, oh, that I know that scene. I know. Well, yeah, you know that scene because it's the same fucking movie. It's just got different actors.
I know, it's so stupid. Like, yeah. I don't even know in what aspect that somebody would be like.
The only time I could see that pitch in that room is if they were in danger of losing the rights. It's sort of like they do with the Fantastic Four. Every time they're about to lose the rights, they make some garbage.
Hellraiser too.
Yeah, so I'm actually really excited about the new Hellraiser. I'm very interested because I know it appears from the artwork I've seen and from the character stills that I've seen that they're going to be delving into comic book territory. I'm curious though. They are, because in the comics, it's a female Pinhead. In the comics, in the story, Kirsty takes the place of Pinhead.
Right, but it's not. So there's different Hellraiser comics, right?
Well, the Hell Priest, I guess, would be more apt, not necessarily Pinhead.
But it starts off with the original,
right,
Doug Bradley version, but he escapes.
Right.
Kirsty Cotton takes his place.
Right.
But this is not Kirsty Cotton.
No, but I mean visually. I'm talking visually because all of the artwork that I've seen from it, the Hell Priest vibe that you get from the comics, it appears that that's what they're paying homage to. It may not be exactly the same, but it seems like it's going to have the same feel to it.
In a way, So I'm going to watch it either
Yeah.
way. So I guess they have succeeded, but I would have watched like a Hellraiser, another Hellraiser movie in the series anyway. I mean, separate from Hulu doing it.
I wouldn't have. The last Hellraiser I only watched because Heather Langenkamp has a cameo.
Judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was garbage.
But I got to hear
Heather
Langenkamp. Yeah, it was great.
This one, I didn't realize that it was a trans woman in the role. I just saw her name or her picture, but then I was reading a.
She's trans. I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know either. Doug Bradley was talking about her. Not that makes any difference at all to me.
No, it doesn't. It's just.
But I think in this world that Clive Barker, obviously, very expressive about gay lifestyle and everything else.
Right.
I think that's an interesting choice. Not like I say, I just hope that she plays a good pinhead. Like I'm most worried about the writing.
Right. And I agree with that, but I really did not realize that she was trans.
Yeah, I didn't either. But I really, 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 really wanted. There was talk back in the day after Martyrs came out that the director Pascal Louiget was going to helm a reboot or remake, and I thought he would be the perfect person to do that. I mean, this Hulu Prey was good, but
it was. So while we're on the subject of Clive Barker, there have been two versions of this done. The Books of Blood. Have you seen either one?
Oh, the movie Books of Blood?
Yeah, there's been two movies.
Right, there was like a TV series about it, right? I haven't seen that.
Hulu redid it, and it was just a mini series. It's not like a series. And then there was the original movie. Now the book I loved. The movies, both of them, fall so far short. They're almost cartoony, both of them, and I don't understand it because there's so much great material. Like in the remake that they did for Hulu, the part where the stories are getting carved into his skin, it is done really well. However, most of the violence that takes place in the stories is cartoonish. It verges on cartoony, and for some reason, on both of them, there's a time jump towards the end of the movie, and they can't apparently find a good wig for either actress because they both look like you just colored their hair with a crayon. I don't understand it.
I wonder about, obviously making movies or TV series is all about the bottom line. I get it.
Right.
It's a business. But in this world now, where I think, geek culture or, is so prevalent that if you get made by Clive Barker or from Clive Barker, you already have a built-in audience.
And I will say
people.
Right. Agreed.
So I don't know why it seems like a lot of Barker stuff has not got the financial backing to realize it or the talent.
That's true.
So I don't know. I mean, with this Hulu one, I am cautious about being hopeful about it.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping for the best.
Well, the big reason that a lot of people are excited about it, I think, is because it's the first actual Hellraiser project that he's been attached to since the original. He's one of the producers on this one. So we're hoping that has
Barker?
some sort of, huh?
What, Barker?
Yeah.
Oh no, he's been involved in a number of Hellraiser stuff.
No, he hasn't. He walked away.
No, like he basically wrote Hellraiser too.
Oh well, that's a possibility. I could be mistaken about which movie he walked away from.
No, but, I mean, whenever Hellraiser movie series got away from, I think maybe 3 or 4. He just collected stuff, but he was well involved in 2, which I think is the best movie in the franchise. He wrote it.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. It's the best movie, but
him and Peter Atkins, like Peter Atkins wrote a couple of the other. He wrote 3 and 4. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Barker for me,
he's an acquired taste.
He lost me as a reader when he went into the fantasy world. I went away from horror.
I like some of his fantasy. Like Weave World was a great series of books. Magica I didn't really care for.
Yeah, but just for my reading, like, and we've talked about this before, you're more into fantasy and more into like the horror stuff.
Right.
He just kind of left the scene for me. He came back with the Scarlet Gospels, which I was very hopeful about, but unfortunately it felt like apart from a really great opening, some terrible fan fiction. I don't know if you've read the Scarlet Gospels.
I have not read the Scarlet Gospels yet. I've read the Hellbound Heart. Okay, so he did actually. I thought he bowed out earlier in the series, but he was actually involved up through Bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yep. That was my mistake. I was unaware. I thought he bowed out much earlier than that.
Anyway, so going back to it, I hope the Hulu movie is really good, and I hope it sparked. I really hope that they delve into not just the regular comics, but do the Kirsty Cotton one. But I don't know if you've read any of the one-off Hellraiser comics where it's.
I haven't. I've not explored them much at all. If I'm being honest, I've just seen a bunch of the artwork.
Different Cenobites and different eras and different things.
Right. And there's a lot of controversy going around online about the mask, the almost like robotic Cenobite it looks like from the pictures we've seen so far.
I have to say that the visual doesn't look good to me.
Right.
There is a mask in some of the one-off comics,
right?
Which is an interesting character, but I mean that kind of gives me pause. just the visual of it. I don't know about you, but that looks a little cringe to me.
I honestly I don't have an opinion yet. I'm reserving that for the new Hellraiser.
Yeah. Anyway, hoping for the best.
Right. So, Mark, what have you been watching or reading lately?
All right, let me have a look here. Because I have to see. Okay. I watched a German movie called Nothing Bad Can Happen.
Okay.
I was intrigued about this because it was on Shudder.
Okay.
I kind of read the little synopsis, and it was about a guy that joins this weird cult, and things happen. And I kind of looked online, and people were referencing martyrs. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. It turns out that the movie is not like Martyrs at all.
Okay.
It is more like, I don't know if you've seen the movie The Girl Next Door.
No.
Not the comedy, but the horror movie based on a real life thing. It's more about I guess I can spoil it. It doesn't really matter because never watch it. So it's this guy who is probably mentally simple or autistic. He joins like this punk Christian quote unquote cult, but that doesn't really play a part in it. It's more about his own internal belief about Jesus. He falls into this household of very kind of nasty people who basically abuse him, but all the time he's like, oh, well, this is the test from Jesus and God and this sort of stuff. and it's just really him getting abused in a more realistic way than like a normal horror movie. It's like domestic violence escalating. It was okay. It was pretty good for what it was.
Okay, that's fair. What else?
I watched the last House of Dragons episode.
Oh, I have not even started.
You haven't started the series at all?
No.
Wow. Can't believe Cersei came back.
You're so full of shit. Your eyes are brown. It's like 300
No,
years in the past.
Did you not hear about it?
No.
No, she's back in it, dude.
No way.
Yeah. So far it is interesting enough. I feel it's still trying to get going. What's weird about this series and Game of Thrones is that for each episode there's been a big time jump.
Okay.
So like from the first episode to the second episode it's been like 6 months, and then from the second to the third it's been like 3 years.
Well, I mean that could not be a bad thing, because the first in Game of Thrones, it took so fucking long for winter to come. Like it felt like time never passed.
Right. This one is moving along, and what gets me is like sometimes they'll reference, winter is coming. They won't say it, but they'll say about their prophecy about what's going to happen in the future, and then it's just like, oh, I have to remember like the last season of Game of Thrones.
Right.
Don't bring it up. Like,
I saw something kind of cute. Cool, not cute, but cool, with George R.R. Martin, and he was doing this panel with Stephen King, and he says, "I do have one question for you." And Stephen King says, "Okay." He goes, "How the fuck do you write so many books?" He says, "Because if I write 3 chapters in 6 months, I'm having a good month. And I'm having a good run. But you've probably put out 3 books in that time." But that was quite funny.
But you know when he types, he types like one finger typing.
Oh God. Oh wow. Anyway,
like how can you write so much and not just automatically pick up typing?
Yeah. So what else you got for me?
That's all I can think of right now. What have you been watching, reading /
So I watched a movie called Super Hot. It is a comedy, a horror comedy about vampires. It was pretty. It's not great, but it was pretty fun. We last talked about the audiobook. I was really excited about Lost Gods. I finished that. That turned out to be phenomenal. I enjoyed every part of that book, and I wish I could find more like it. After that, I listened to a book called The Mansion.
Okay.
And that was essentially an homage to The Shining, but with AI. And it was okay. It wasn't great, but it was a solid story. The narrator took a little getting used to, but I enjoyed it.
So when he says that AI is shining, what does that mean?
So they're essentially it's about these 3 people that went to college together, and they were computer program. They were studying computer programming, and they were trying to build this AI, and they could not get it to work properly. Well, one guy was dating a girl, the other guy fell in love with the girl, and they ran off together, and they left this operating system because they couldn't get the AI to work. That became like Android essentially. So the guy made billions on it and screwed them out of their money. So what the story picks up with, he reaches back out to them and he's like, "Look, we're really building this AI. I've had coders working on it for years. They can't get it to work. It works fine in the lab, but then we bring it out here and it doesn't work. So out here is his family's home, or his family's ancestral home, I guess you could say. which is essentially a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
He's rebuilt the mansion because it was dilapidated and made it into this giant hotel. And throughout the hotel is this artificial intelligence. They call her Nellie. And essentially what winds up happening is they get snowed in, the AI goes bad, and mayhem ensues. So it's okay if you like techno thrillers, but it's not great. And there is a lot of The Shining in it, down to one of the characters being named Wendy.
Have you seen Demon Seed?
I feel like I have, because I know the cover is an embryo, but I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, it's a Dean Koontz novel.
Movie. Did he write it?
Yeah.
He wrote the movie also?
Yeah, he's listed in the screenplay. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna hate it. I've hated every book adaptation of his that he's been involved in. Hated every one.
Yeah, but if you haven't read the book,
that's true. I have not read the book yet, so I might like the movie because I won't know any difference. Yeah, I will.
And again, you should also check out Ex Machina.
Yeah, you did tell me about that. I do remember. Other than that, I did binge the entire new season of Cobra Kai.
Not watch it.
I'm not. It wasn't my favorite, and I'm not sure that this isn't the last season. But so they kind of just wrapped everything up. But there are no stakes in any of these seasons. Like they make it all about this drama, but it is what it is. But it was a fun bit of nostalgia if you enjoyed the Karate Kid films.
Yeah, I mean, I did, but I don't have that. It's stuff that I watched as a kid that resonates more with me now is really more horror stuff than
and this is exactly the only reason I watched it or got into it was because of the nostalgia part of it, because I did love the original 3 movies.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's going to be a season 6, but I mean, at this point, like you think in this season, and there are spoilers ahead, FYI. In this season of Cobra Kai, you think John Kreese is dead. Like he gets stabbed in a prison fight, and turns out, no, he just used it to escape.
I don't even know who that is.
He was the original sensei for
Martin Cove.
What?
Is that's the original sensei, Martin Cove?
No, John Kreese. Oh, I don't know the actor's name. Yeah, I don't know the actor's name, but he plays a character called John Kreese from the original movie. He was the sensei for the dojo that Daniel LaRusso, Ralph Macchio's character, was fighting against.
He was the one to sweep the leg, right?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, that's Martin Cove.
Okay, I didn't know the original actor's name.
Yeah, he was also in. I don't know if you've seen the movie VFW.
I don't think I have seen that one yet. I know of it. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But like I said, it's all about the nostalgia with this. Like they bring back characters from every single movie. I haven't seen the next Karate Kid. Like Hilary Swank didn't make an appearance, but his love interest Elizabeth Shue did, and obviously Johnny, the original bad guy, the blonde kid that beats up Daniel LaRusso all the time, he's in it, and it's essentially his redemption arc. Like this is him.
They just sorry. I don't know if you watch on YouTube Cinema Sins.
No.
Where they just go through a movie, basically pick it apart.
Sort of like this.
Yeah, they did a Karate Kid, the original version, and it's like, here's an edit of Mr. Miyagi telling Daniel to do stuff without any context, and they black out the screen, and it's all like, yeah, push down, push up, push up. Oh, there you go. It's funny.
Well, I did actually hear a fan theory that I really kind of got behind, was that Daniel LaRusso is actually the bully in the first Karate Kid.
Well,
Like most of the fights, he starts.
Yeah. He throws his own bike away.
Yeah. So I thought that was a fan theory I could probably get behind.
Okay, what else do you have?
Anyway, that's it.
That's it?
I can't think of anything else that I've seen or read this week. I did start a new book on my Kindle called Cryptid Quest. It's part of the John Decker series. They're fun little monster books if you want a quick read. I do have an order of books coming from an online site called Thrifty Books that I'm very excited about because I haven't actually bought any paper, any actual books. We got The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. I got a book called House. I'm not even sure what it's about. Just the cover looked cool, but apparently it comes with a DVD.
Well, hopefully it's the 1980s classic House with William Catt, or House, the movie you watched.
No, it is not that one.
No pianos eating people.
Yeah, no pianos eating people.
No, it's disappointing.
Oh, this gives me... Okay, apparently looking at it doesn't tell me anything. So it's part of the Books of History Chronicle series. I don't know what that means. Mind-bending supernatural thriller from the creators of The Present Darkness and The Saint. Yeah. Where you'll find yourself thrown into a killer's deadly game in which the only way to win is to lose, and the only way out is in.
And the only way up is down.
Yeah, essentially. But, I mean,
the only way east is west.
Right. I mean, but for $4 a book, you can't really beat it. And then I got one called The Fireman. Oh, I paid $9 for that one. Oh, it's by Joe Hill. That's why, because I like Joe Hill. I really splurged on that one, didn't I?
Wow. It's stepping outside your zone.
Yeah, I know. No kidding, right? So that's it for me. So everybody, thanks for listening.